Hello, gentlemen.
Buongiorno.
Special. No, I believe. How did they say hello? Where you're currently joining us from, Michael?
Gal.
Okay, Nick, how do they say it there?
They just wave. They don't even say anything where I'm at. I'm actually doing a new thing in 2025. I'm off the map, off the radar. I'm always joining you from an undisclosed location. I don't like when people can keep tabs on me.
Where you are, they just go like this.
They just blow cigarette smoke in your face. That's how they welcome you. Maybe.
Nice.
Guys, we had to do an emergency Speshy, Weshy, Euromergency podcast, which is a double entendre because a lot has happened for KU basketball in that not much has happened for KU basketball. I want to work in reverse chronological order. I feel like that's the easiest way to go about because we haven't done an episode in like a month, I want to say. So let's start with yesterday. Mike, do you want to run through the series of non-events that happened for Kansas yesterday?
Darrion Williams, KU's top target in the transfer portal. Basically, their biggest swing throughout the whole offseason, committed to NC State. That was the non-news yesterday. That's it was a blow. Yesterday was a bad day.
Well, it wasn't just Darrion Williams, right?
Because what else happened? Oh, Dame Sarr. Was that yesterday too?
Wait, his name is pronounced Dame?
Dame.
I was operating under the assumption it was Dame the entire time.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Are uncultured swine.
It does matter anymore because here's my first question. So Dame Sarr, Nigerian, who had played in Italy professionally for the
Senegal.
past. You might want to check that,
Spain?
Check the tape on that.
Barca.
Is Barcelona in Spain? I've also been operating under the assumption Barcelona's in Italy.
We've been traveling.
Was that a trade swap deal?
There's a pick swap.
Spain got Barca? Okay, so I got both countries wrong. He's not a Nigerian Spanish basketball player.
Italian Senegalese, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Playing in Spain, and you should know that. It's so obvious. How many? It's the most common path.
Okay, Darrion Williams, Dame Sarr. I need this just for my fandom. Kevin says it doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me. Which one was going to be better for KU in the hypothetical scenario where they got them? Because I just want to know who I should be paying more attention to this year to get pissed off when they're going off for their respective collegiate programs.
My take is that Dame is a better basketball player, but Darrion Williams probably would have been better for KU.
How's that work?
Well, sometimes they're good college basketball players who aren't necessarily like NBA talents. The alphas know this. The alphas get it. You have an 18-year-old who hasn't 19, whatever, who hasn't played college basketball, though he has played in the EuroLeague, Serie A, and I assume. And so, he's experienced, but still, this is new. Darrion Williams making game winners, game-tying shots, whatever, in the NCAA tournament, Big 12 experience. So that's why you want that. Yeah. So that's it. Sorry, this comment really distracted me.
Professor Spherenstein says, Kevin looks like he's about to sell me patio furniture. Kevin just
patio furniture.
Oh, great. Incredible wear and tear. Yeah, you can beat this up.
From a high-rise Class A office building? I don't think so, buddy.
Now, is this water resistant? Is this like a polyurethane coating?
Performance fabric.
You know how winters get down here in Dallas.
This deck's going to be around longer than you and your descendants.
It's one hell of a deck.
I'll tell you what.
Because it'll kill you. It's toxic. It's all made of toxic materials.
I'm in.
I didn't really have a scouting breakdown on either one of these players. Obviously, I knew Darrion Williams because he played at Texas Tech. I didn't watch any of Dame Sarr, but I will say seeing the photos of his recruiting visit, Kevin's big on this, I know. And Mike, I think you are too, but
I like it.
he looked cool in a Kansas jersey. He looked really cool in a KU jersey. And that to me is like 70% of the game. So that one really bums me out, more so than Darrion Williams.
Yeah.
I like the guy who's like 30 pounds overweight. That's Darrion Williams.
And
Like
6'4".
Yeah, he's short, big, power forward. Basically, just kind of a. Oh wow, we're seeing a picture
Yeah.
of Dame. Yeah, this is a 6'7", like 2 guard from who's been playing for FC Barcelona, and his name is
Damn.
Dame.
But
Yeah.
that part excited me, like the idea that this guy's been playing with professional basketball players for 2 years, like a grown up in the room. That's been one of my biggest complaints about KU the last 2 years is like, where are the dogs? It seems like a bunch of little puppies. It seems like a bunch of little kiddos running around having fun, just enjoying playing for Kansas basketball. I wanted a dude who could bring a little bit of professionalism to this program.
I have no idea if if Dame Sarr is what. That's not our take. The take is that like
That's
KU
my
whiffed
take.
on 2 dudes yesterday. One of
I have
them,
multiple takes.
one of them committed.
Don't reduce me to one take. I have many takes.
I would like a professional on my team.
Okay, I didn't say it like that. I didn't espouse. I would like I didn't say it European. I said it American. Give me a pro. I want a man. I want a guy who's been in the rough and tumble with some grown men in Spain. I mean, that's where they make men nowadays. We don't have to get into that anymore, but there's another take for you.
Here's
You're
a
right,
take.
though.
It's pronounced España. Dame Sarr.
Dame Sarr.
Fuck, I wanted this guy so bad. Think about it. Sarr? Oh my god.
Okay, so
Sarr,
the
Sarr,
headline was that they missed out
Sarr.
on both of them in one day, but I know you had been reporting up to last week that it looks like things had soured on Sarr. Can you kind of summarize what happened there?
Yeah, it did sour. So Thar had committed to Kansas in the staff.
We can't do this.
I think he indicated that he was committing to KU.
It's
and
imminent. I'm coming.
Within 24 hours, he Duke came in over the top of the bag. We lost him to Duke. Duke kind of had an opening with Cedric Coward, who was their
Also
big
a former
transfer get.
KU target.
Yep. So he was their big get, and then he went off at the combine. So Duke had some money to spend, and Dame Sarr ended up at Duke, and they outbid us. So he basically committed and rescinded the commitment very quickly. And then we had to go back to Darrion Williams.
Who stinks?
Who also, I presume, took a bigger bag from NC State.
Yeah. KU got outspent on both dudes. The surprising one was Darrion Williams to me.
KU's getting outbagged by NC State. That's a tough look.
Look, they got Will Wade now, who like is pro, creme de la creme at dropping bags. But yeah, he kind of went up against the old Kings, and he took him down. Will Wade. I was really genuinely surprised about Darrion Williams. Dame Sarr, like the second Duke had that opening, I was like, Key's probably fucked. Where it seemed like he wanted Duke the whole time. They come in over the top. I don't know if we matched. Done. Game over. Darrion Williams, like Key was on him for a long time.
Do you have any idea the size of bags that we're talking here? I mean, I don't need specifics, but when I hear that like KU's getting outspent by NC State, that's not as shocking as Duke. But I'm just kind of curious, like, what are the types of figures you think these guys are getting? And what's KU?
And what's the delta? Yeah, between what we could get to and where they ended up. How broke are we?
Actually, I texted Delta today. broke is relative, but there's money spending questions kind of for the first time, or like restrictions. So
Feels broke.
okay, let's see here. There's a little bit of like fog of recruiting battle. So it's hard to get the exact number right now. Like I would rather if I could go a few days and like actually talk to some people. I'm also in Italy, but like let's say give or take $3 million for Darrion Williams. I think that's what we're talking. I think KU give or take like 300 to 500,000 shy, 300,000
Oh, shy.
to 500,000 delta short.
Okay.
Sorry. KU's not
I
offering.
thought you were
3 to
saying they got
400.
10x. Then I was
No,
like,
no. If like somewhere around 2.5, he goes somewhere around 3. I'm not sure what the wiggle room is on that. I've heard that there are bigger numbers like thrown around. I don't know if I totally buy that. What I do buy, I think, is a 3-ish number. And KU is probably like 300,000, give or take, off, maybe 3 to 500,000 off.
okay, that stings a little bit because that seems like not very much money for a major college university to rummage up.
Correct.
Especially after the 24-hour stream, they'd be like $150,000 off.
Our 24-hour stream that we raise money. Yeah, no, actually, I don't think it was that far off. And why can you not get that last batch? Where is the resistance coming from? I'm not exactly sure, right? Like, I don't know what the implications are basically to fill out the rest of their roster. I know at some point, like, I think there is some strain around going back to the same donors over and over and over again who are giving to the stadium and or for NIL. And KU football is also like recruiting really well. I think they're going to get like a 4-star running back today. That's what I'm hearing. And so you have a little bit of push and pull, tug of war. It's happening across college sports, but the unique thing at KU is a $750 million stadium that is hitting at the same time as NIL. KU's still spending, like $10 million on the hoops roster. It's probably top 10, top 5-ish in money, but it's not unlimited, right?
How much is left? I feel like there should be a massive bag waiting to get allocated, and nobody wants to come here. Nobody wants to take it.
2 million, 2.5 million seems to be what they have to work with.
So I imagine was the offer that KU gave to Sarr similar to the one monetarily?
Probably. Sounds right. I think he might have maybe been a little cheaper before whatever it's pronounced Thar and whatever Duke did, whatever Duke came in at. I don't know what Duke came in at.
Okay, so I have a pretty rudimentary understanding of how NIL and honestly fundraising in general works for these universities, but let me paint you like my overly simplistic view of how I think it works. You've got these donors who are being hit up over the last handful of years for money to build this stadium, which I don't know, what's the bill at right now for this like total stadium build?
Like 750 million.
Okay, that's
when
insane.
It's done.
That's insane. Okay.
Yeah.
So
look at the original numbers. Look at the like timeline of the numbers.
So imagine you've got a donor who's, let's say, you've got some donors who are newer, some donors who have been around for the last couple of decades, and they're used to giving X amount or X percentage every single year. And now all of a sudden you have this massive project. Hey, we need you to kick a little bit more into this bucket. It's for the betterment of the university. You see the renderings, you hear the vision. You're like, okay, I'm in. Here's some more money. At the same time, you've got NIL. Hey, I know you've been contributing to the athletic department for X amount of years, but now it's a little bit different. You're going to be hit up by this new person who's from a new department that really doesn't have anything to do with us. We'd still like some of your money, but also John Doe, who is now running the NIL fund for KU, he's also going to be hitting you up for some money because that's how recruiting works now. If you're a donor, you're saying like, okay, well, I already gave you extra for the football stadium. I still have my donations that are going to the athletic department. Maybe you're also still donating to the university itself for buildings, schools, whatever. And now on top of it, it's like, hey, do you have an extra 25 grand laying around because we're trying to put together a pool to build a Final Four team? I would understand the fatigue of these donors saying like, you need more. Like it's the John Mulaney line. It's like, you want more of my money? What did you do with the money I already gave you? Did you spend it all? And the answer in this case is likely yes, we did.
Concession stand. We built a concession stand with it. Now we want to power forward.
Someone described it as like, yeah, it's less donor fatigue, more like losing fatigue after the decisions made the last couple of years. But I think it's Bill's like, hey, I can go out and get it in the athletic department that is responsible for overseeing the long-term financial like viability of KU athletics, wanting more than just basketball to succeed, has to make or sit there and kind of be like, well, we're not gonna, we have long-term relationships here. We have to think about the long term. We can't just keep going and treating everyone like they're unlimited. But it's like this is college sports. They're spending. We can go get that guy. We can go get that money. And you're worried about the football stadium, which isn't their fault. Like it's years of neglect that has like come to roost in really unfortunate timing for a couple of reasons, like price of construction going up like crazy and NIL hitting at the same time. And I really want, also the third parties are like gone now on NIL, but I really want Nick or Kevin to like, you're the salesman calling Nick right now. Like we got to play up with this office. Kevin's in an office, T-hand. So I want you to sell us this pen. Like,
I'll be the client. I'm the billionaire alumnus CEO mogul.
He's given like 30 million in the last 2 years.
And I'm making a pitch for basketball.
Yeah, you need a bag.
Yeah, you need a bag. And you're on the other end is
Darrion Williams. You're trying to get Darrion Williams.
Gotcha. Oh, perfect. Hey, Mr. Schwert, thank you so much for your generosity over the last few seasons. It's not enough. We need to go get a short, fat four-man badly, and we're close. We're close. Did you like 2022? Did you like that celebration in New Orleans? I did, and we're gonna do it again. I just need another. I need another mill from my human ATM, Mr. Schwert. And then we'll get this guy, and he'll hit a big 3 or 2, and he'll lose like 4 pounds, and he'll be very productive for us.
Okay.
And did I mention he's 6'4"?
See, this is what's interesting to me. Kevin was playing both fundraiser and like basketball scout, which are the people who are calling the donors like pitching on specific players, being like, yeah, this guy's he's got range, he can defend all 5
They have
positions. Like, where are they getting the reports from? It's like, is KT saying like, yeah, here are the talking points on Darrion Williams. Make sure you hit that he's a he's a two-way player.
They're probably like, he's putting together a deck. He's been working on this deck all night. He sends it over to the fundraiser. The fundraiser crunches it and then hits up donor X.
No, I need to see the deck being presented. KT's deck going to the donor.
It's just white background, black Arial font.
It's always sunny with like the bikini lady and the money arrows just going up to the right. Or
He's just FaceTiming and he's just like this. He doesn't even have PowerPoint.
Oh God.
So like right now, I think it's kind of moved in house, but at some point there was some weird like third party bullshit like that. Now
So
yeah.
so Mike, is that argument that you kind of presented there about it not really being about donor fatigue and more about losing fatigue, is that to say essentially that like if KU had went on back to back, Elite Eight runs, then
Well, you
they
kind of
would have an easier time getting this money right now?
yeah, I think so. But you do kind of see it.
This is the pitch deck for Darrion Williams.
Look how happy he is.
I nailed his hair.
You do kind of see like a series of overcorrections from KU, like back and forth, where they're like, okay, we got Hunter Dickinson, and now we're gonna need shooting, and we're gonna get Nick Timberlake, and I don't remember whoever else they got. Um, and then it's like, okay, that guy could just shoot, he couldn't guard. We're gonna need some guys some playmakers, but they also have to be able to shoot. And like, we need to spend top
Well,
line money, and they go with AJ Storr and Riley Griffin.
but the reason I asked that question is because if I'm hearing like basketball pitches from non-basketball people,
I don't
I'm
think
like,
that's how it is anymore.
you
I don't think
don't know
it's
what
like
you're
that.
talking about. Okay.
I don't think it's like that anymore. But losing fatigue, like, yeah, I think KU would be better off like not having spent all that money on AJ Storr and Riley Griffin. I think like that made it a little harder. And then I think there's also some like anx- nervousness from basically like the steward of the future of KU athletics, which is Goff, on like, well, we need to like, we can't just keep doing this. Or like you can't keep going. KU basically has this same well. They're going over and over and
Well,
over. Someone has to make the decision on like how much you can take in a year, right?
I'm
And
gonna take that's a good explanation because it's making me kind of reframe how I'm thinking about NIL and the ask that KU basketball specifically has. And if you think about it, like last year, coming off the 2024 season, you basically went out and said, we're retooling the roster. This is going to be big swing after big swing. We're going to
yeah,
go get big name guys from big programs, big names. And it didn't work. And so for you to now come back to those same people who funded those swings for you and say, hey, I know it didn't work last
yeah.
time, but this time it will. If I am that donor, I'm saying, no, 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 no. I gave you all the resources. You didn't produce. So this time you need to give me a proof of concept. Now you're going to have to do it with less. This is not just going to be unlimited funds. We're going to keep throwing money at the problems. You are now going to have to pay for your mistakes last year. And from like a business sense, quote unquote, that makes sense to me. It would make sense to me that these donors are like, honestly, like
But
I'm not just going to bail you out of these financial problems because you have not shown that you know what you're doing with this money.
it totally valid. Like, did you see what we saw last year? We all saw the same thing. The other piece is like that's not just in a vacuum. There is again a massive expense in the football stadium that's happening. Growing investment in football. Football must win. It must produce revenue. That is like KU's big bet here. So there's also that pull. And then in some ways though, like there was blood that spilled. Um, Sorry to go violent, um after last season, like that. And that's like norm, I think, is a um push from donors who wanted to see like proof of concept. Are you going to change? Is it going to be more of the same? Am I going to look over and see 9 old sleepy dudes again? Like, like it was bad. The optics were really really bad. So I do think that some staff changes, or at least one major spot changing, is a direct result of like um, donor push to prove that you're willing to do this differently.
I just want to say real quickly, side note, we were absolutely the first ones on the KU has too many coaches train.
Yeah.
Like months. We were months ahead of anybody else. And it was just purely visual.
We literally had a ticker up that said fire Norm, which I feel bad about in retrospect.
Retire Norm. Do we not have the same amount of coaches?
No, we do. Yeah, we've gone one. Oh, no, we're 2 out. Coach Q's out.
Oh,
Okay,
Q
so
and
Coach
Norm are
Q
out.
out, Norm out, and I guess maybe this brings us to our next topic, Jacque Vaughn in. It's a big name. Any KU fan who calls himself a KU fan knows who Jacque is and rightfully is going to get excited about this hire. Mike, can you explain to me the significance of it other than like, hey, it's Jacque Vaughn. He's
Yeah.
a really good player. He coached in the
I mean-
NBA. Like what does this mean for the program?
Yeah, I can do that. While I do that, Kevin, now you got to play the KU Athletics either like donor rep again, Williams Fund rep, trying to raise money because of Jacque Vaughn being the coach. Doesn't have to be NIL, just raising money, trying to sell tickets, whatever it may be. I would like to hear that. Okay, so what it means for the program, I need it. Look, like okay, yes, it signals some willingness to change. Of like this is completely new blood. It is very much outside the Bill Self tree. We haven't seen, at least in a long time, kind of a real like self-controlled name on this bench, on this staff. That's like an obvious one, which is okay, this guy's twice been a head coach, knows KU, he's gonna know basketball, he's gonna want to say him things, he's not gonna just be a yes man. That's, I think, an immediate play. Also, like knowledge of European players could be interesting. Certainly appeasing donors, being able to maybe speak to them in a different way and opening up some long-term or get some new checks in as well for NIL. Those are some obvious smaller ones. And then I think what you're getting at is probably the big picture of like, okay, Bill Self doesn't have that many years left. Like, just put it very plainly. At some point in the near future, next couple of years, could be 1, could be 3, you will need a new head basketball coach, the 9th in school history. Now on your bench, you have a 2-time NBA head coach who is beloved by the university. He immediately moves to the top of the list as far as possible or potential next coaches or Bill Self replacements for the University of Kansas. It feels like a trial run. It looks like a trial run. It smelled like one. Have you smelled that? I have. I hope he's got the
wafting.
beard still. So, like,
Oh yeah.
it's certainly a feel it out moment. I think it has to be. You certainly have a very qualified person to be your next head coach there on the bench now for a number of reasons. And then also, if you zoom out a little bit more too, the staff does get quite a bit younger there with Jacque is 50. You've got Jeremy Case and you've got Chase Buford, all with assistant coaching roles. That's a pretty young group who will hopefully have a bigger and bigger say, and maybe a willingness to change from Bill. We'll see. What do you think?
I hope that a 2-time NBA head coach can come in and actually have some sway and modernize this offense a little bit.
Yeah, you have to hope, but I don't know. Like, it's definitely pretty interesting. Like, how's that gonna go? How are they gonna be
Well,
on the
that's
same page?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like the flip side of that coin is like, what if Bill doesn't like having a strong-minded basketball person on the bench with him? Like, what if he doesn't love the pushback?
Then it only lasts 1 year.
Yeah.
That would be because I'm just seeing
look.
everything we're talking about here, which is some sort of fatigue with donors, whether it's losing fatigue or financial fatigue. You have got the bad timing of the football stadium being built at the exact same time that KU is trying to raise NIL money.
In the war.
And now you've got like changes being made and maybe being sort of impressed upon Bill, like you need to make these changes. It's a lot of new elements for a guy in the twilight of his career, and I just don't love it.
You don't love it, but like the new elements is they can. I mean, they whiffed on two guys late in the recruiting process where Bill's been nails for the years, and then a coach in Jacque Vaughn. Like that's the big new element. It's a little. Is that what you don't like? Kind of like we've got this other guy here, or just like this doesn't feel like KU is in the power position that it used to be operating from in basketball.
It
may not be, by the way.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like KU is in a power position right now. That could change very quickly with wins. I get that much, but it's just the extracurricular. It's all the elements surrounding the program where it's like, this isn't what we're used to. And over the last 2 years, we haven't seen any indications of change. If you told me Bill Self was going to be here for another 10 years, like I wouldn't be nearly as concerned. But it's the idea that you're asking this old dog to learn a bunch of new tricks, like with 1 or 2 years left in him. That's what's a little scary.
I don't know how new it is. I just genuinely don't. But there are certainly like changing forces around him. He could be working to set up KU in the long term too, and trying to help get someone ready. But no, it's certainly like a little unnerving, and you don't know if that's like there are proven coaches out there too, proven college head coaches who are like, wait, are you gonna still try with those guys, or are we going down like the Roy Williams like wet dream path, which is just the jock train? I don't know. If I were a ticket buyer or a donor, I would really love to be. I'd be very curious what the sales pitch would be like from KU Athletics.
Guys,
what would the sales pitch be?
And
I so put you on the spot. Come on.
I shouldn't have been looking at my inbox.
Sell me on Jacque. Sell me on. I need to donate. I need to donate more because we got Jacque.
It's the last hurrah. It's Bill Self 3.0. And it's going to be fueled by an NBA guy who I shouldn't even be talking about this, but he's our next head coach. Like, he is our next head coach. Don't tell anybody, but tell all the rest of the rich dudes. It's very exciting. He has a sick beard. He looks so cool in our quarter zip. And we're not going to be feeding the post. We're going to be running and gunning. It's going to be so fun. You and your rich friends are going to love coming to games. So about that check, how much can I put you down for?
That's great.
How many? Add a couple zeros. That wasn't going to move the needle.
How about 5 zeros after that?
We've got all these new donor areas for you and new screens for advertisements. Do you like that?
We got a big piece of wood in the corner of the arena.
Do you like it? Don't you dare criticize it online.
Guys, we have a surprise visitor. We have a surprise visitor joining the show right now. I can't tell if he's in a car or a golf cart. Neither would surprise me.
What's up, fellas?
Hello, Mac.
Mac.
Kids' graduation.
Oh, yeah, you should skip that.
Well, it's over. It's over. I'm good.
Oh, mazel tov.
Yeah.
Kid in car? Kid in car?
Yeah, it took place in a Ford. Yeah, correct. No, I'm on. I just left it. Thank you very much. I was just listening in. I didn't know how to actually go to like the YouTube thing, so I hit the StreamYard link. But I'm happy to give a quick take.
I have unless you have one, I have one I want to set you up for. So
Go for it.
I saw you put out a tweet last night that I wanted to explore. So I'm very glad that you decided to join. I think Mike had sent out sort of the ominous hint text or tweet that there's donor fatigue with the football stadium, essentially. Like they're paying for years of football neglect. And I'm not going to repurpose what you said. So why don't you do it for us?
I think it was something to the effect of, I refuse to believe, I refuse to believe that Bill Self has no clout, zero, to go get what he needs to get when he needs to get it. I just refuse. Now, I could be wrong. That's the name of the podcast. I could be wrong here.
There we go.
But I'm telling you, I refuse to believe that that's where we're at. I can't do it. I refuse. Now, maybe that is where we're at, and I still refuse it. And by that I mean I think it's not viable. It's not where we should be. I refuse to believe it. One, but if it's true, I refuse to accept it.
But they didn't. They got outspent twice this week.
Here's the thing. I think there was definitely some user error, some strategy error in the way that we went about this offseason, which is easy to say now. But there were times looking back where, and Mike, you just kept saying we're being patient. The guys are being patient. That was the word you used over and over again early in as names were falling off the board. Oh, they're not gonna
They won't overspend.
They're learning from what they've done before. They're being patient. They're picking their spots. Well, how did that go? Because
No, it's a total. Yep.
There are dudes that would be really, really good right now for us to have on the roster that we were probably too patient for. So did we learn again?
Yeah, it's probably an overcorrection again. Like that's where I was saying where they went out and went top of the market, bang, 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 and it bit them. And they knew that there were going to be some good guys available late, and then they got outspent at the end.
Which
So
is
like
going to happen, right? It's. I mean, god dang, Euro Kev, you are in finance. You understand a free market system. What happens when guys are not left?
Sucks.
What happens when there's not enough supply for the demand?
You're left. You're left in the dust, Kevin.
It's going to get more expensive.
so here's
You gotta
KU
know
has
that.
spent money. It's an expensive roster. But it's
Okay.
like how expensive are
okay,
they going to
what's
get
the
here for
salary?
the end? What is
Okay,
the top four roster?
Can you give me the top three? If we're doing a salary cap table for KU's roster, who are the three highest paid players on KU's roster right now?
It's Darren Peterson, Flory
Flory.
Badunga. Those guys are like probably 40% of your money. 30 to 40.
Is it Trey or Dawson?
Maybe
I don't even. It couldn't be
maybe
Council.
Trey White. Then it falls off. You got a lot of like $1 million type of pieces there, not the $2 million guys. So you pretty much are spending on two players, DP and Flory, and then I think it's negligible. Dawson, Council, Trey White, Bryson Tiller might be expensive, which I don't feel great about at this time. If we need money, like I just don't know. So it's Bill Self would go get the money. I believe, like I said that there was some kind of like push and pull discussion of going to get the money, but then it's like maybe they did, and NC State still came over the top. And so we've gotten beat on a couple guys, and now it's like, well, you might have to get creative, for the record, and like that's where like could still be going Euro. But the question is like, is the money there? Like, money is there, but is it top four money for a staff that has top four expectations every year?
Because that's kind of the thing is like in this new open market era, like I expect KU basketball to be the Yankees, to be the Red Sox, to be the Dodgers. Like I expect them to be top of the line, be able to offer competitive offers or blow other people out of the water because of the prestige of the program. And what we're learning is like that it's just not like that.
No, and the staff is, I do think, a little bit stuck in like the era of like we get a discount because we're Kansas. They under they underestimated what the market would be this offseason. I think they got caught with their pants down a bit on that. And like guys are more expensive than they anticipated. Also, like I just think that they had not adjusted still. And like the game is
mean,
different. It's a money game, and it
because
should be.
There
Sorry.
was part of me where at one point I wondered, I think I even said it on here, like, you're gonna get outbid. You're not just gonna have the biggest money offer for every single player you go after, but there have to be other things that you can offer these players that Kansas has that the lesser than programs can't compete with. And the more that time goes on, it's like, nope, it's actually much simpler than that. How much
Well,
you have? That's it. That's
but
all.
Nobody
also,
cares about winning.
but it's like, hey,
Mainly.
I'm going to call up AJ Store. Hey, what'd you think about last year? Any Rylan Griffin, what'd you think about last year? I think that the experience of portal players and how they were treated by the staff and like how it worked out, it has hurt them as well. Where it's probably put a little bit more of a push on it too. Which is like they were all like, yeah, Bill hated me.
My
See,
coach hated me. He also
here's
would
the
have been so
problem.
good.
Here's the
It
problem. Like
sucked.
circling back to the Jacque Vaughn hire.
Oh yeah.
Let's say they love Jacque. Let's say he gets along great. The players love him, but like Bill loves him, but KU still doesn't win.
Right.
Like if they're once again a double-digit loss team, Bill decides to retire. I don't know that it's necessarily a shoo-in that Jacque gets the job just because he's already there. Like this, what I'm kind of basically trying to say here is I don't want to understate how much is riding on this coming season. And sitting here right now where the roster's not going, the roster construction is not going according to plan, I'm a little nervous about what could come from another underwhelming season.
The stakes across basketball and football right now are like massive for KU.
Everybody. For
all of
everybody right now. I mean, for all programs right now.
All of us.
This is go time.
Yeah, but like going back to the
roster
beginning
right now is like concerning.
Going back to the beginning, yeah, it is the same for every program. But like Mike said, not every program is dealing with a $750 million football stadium. And
It's
we
serious.
keep saying like, bad timing. It's like, this didn't just happen out of nowhere. If you're the people making decisions at this university, like you kind of knew NIL was coming. And so I think it's at least worth asking because we're all excited for the new stadium. We all admitted it needed to be done. It was long overdue.
Yep.
But it is at least worth asking. Could you kick the can down the road a few years? Like, did you basically make a decision? Did you basically make a decision to keep Lance Leipold, knowing that it would come with negative ramifications for basketball? Because you can't sit here and tell me you had no idea that it would be this hard raising money after building a $750 million stadium.
It's like, it's such a good point. It's a good point. What exactly did they know? Like the rules kept changing, but it was changing. They caught their first bounce. They caught their first momentum. Were desperate to keep Lance. Lance like dominated. He forced KU's hand in these contract negotiations really about the stadium. Like he forced it down their throat And I get it. Like KU needed the stadium, they needed to do it. The speed at which they're going, like the speed has been really prioritized, and it's like pretty expensive way to do it. And so it's certainly like an interesting set of really gutsy decisions, but their hand was also kind of forced by Leipold, and like he kind of like dragged him. Same with like playing at Arrowhead, and uh, but here's the thing, like it was so bad, like NIL set up for basketball, like someone needed to fight for football. He's done that, but like you kind of got walked all over, and now you're dealing with it. Like you took your shot, and it's like you hope it works. It's scary. It could work. It could work.
Right.
But
I
it
mean,
fucking
it all comes down to the way that you want to frame it. If you want to frame it as like nobody could win at Kansas football, then Lance Leipold showed up. He was ready to turn this thing around. He showed the proof of concept. He showed growth. Guys wanted to be here, and he said, I just need the resources. You, as an athletic department, should have known, and probably did know at that time, there will be a cost associated with that sort of investment into football, which is that like basketball will still be the number one, but the resources and the allocation of those resources are going to change in the process of trying to build this football program. And hey, we all love Lance. We wanted Lance to stay. We wanted him to turn this into something legitimate. But like if you fast forward 5 years from now and you tell me that Bill Self kind of went out with a whimper and Lance Leipold, got old and retired, and KU's just kind of back to being a middling football program, I think we're going to look back at this period of time and saying, like, did we really sell the basketball program and the prestige for 6 good years of football in a new stadium? I'm just curious how history is going to remember this time.
Me too.
And this like massive investment into Lance Leipold, the coach.
And yeah.
What are you smirking at?
It could work.
I'm smirking. It could. You need to win 10 football games this year for that to look that good, because are we all going to be sitting here just like, ooh, 8 wins, basketball finished unranked again? I mean, seriously. We were in the top half of the Big 12. Suck it. Like, no, dude, that doesn't do it for anybody. And so, yeah, you need to win 10 games. You need to be trying to play in Arlington for a Big 12 championship game against a $50 million Texas Tech roster. You need to be contending for the playoff for that to have worked, honestly, if you're going to essentially piss basketball away, relatively.
They're not, I mean, like the roster is expensive. Darren Peterson and Flory were really expensive. They totally like, I think undershot or didn't understand how expensive players were going to go for this offseason. I don't know who that's on, but also Bill like won't hire a GM. And also whenever Lance gets raised, Bill has to get a raise. Football got their renovations, so on Fieldhouse got renovations, though they can charge more for tickets and have their new TV screens. Like, hopefully that's a ROI that ends up positive. But it's like, is either coach being told no? But like,
Travis Goff doesn't strike me as a big no guy.
yeah,
those parents. Those parents who just brought home, like they have like a toddler, and then like you go over to their house and you say, no, don't do that, and they say, actually, we're not saying no. We're not telling him no.
We don't do that here.
We're telling him to think about his decisions.
It's a little like, I don't even know where I was going. Like, he's like getting bullied like by student burners about the baseball games and shit, like, and responding to things on Twitter. But like, I don't know if we saw that it's a little. They're very optics concerned, and I get that they had. I get that they had to do it again. It could work out. The hires have been great. Look at KU baseball, but it's like, are you going to
No,
be able to
you
make
know
these
what?
hard
I'm actually
decisions? Like,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
step in
know.
right there. I'm gonna step in right there and say no.
Okay.
KU baseball, we're not doing KU. Like that doesn't count as a win. I'm sorry. Like it's
It
football,
counts as
basketball.
like, hey,
Everything
that's a
else
good
is like a cool
hire.
little
Yeah.
story.
Your job is to fix football, not fuck up basketball.
And by the way, I just want to address this. Like I've seen a couple comments.
I don't know what to do. Comments.
Harold said, need to circle back. The Bill has had plenty of money and decided to spend it around Dewan, KJ, and Hunter. Not sure why he's infallible in these discussions. He certainly is fallible. And I think we noted that earlier in the episode when we said, like, he's paying for his mistakes right now. Like right now, he is paying for his mistakes because they're going back to donors, asking for more money to get these recruits. And the donors are, I am speculating, are saying
someone is stopping him.
Yes, somewhere along the way, someone is saying, like, actually spent a lot of money last year, didn't go great, need you to do more with less this time around.
Yeah, no, self should be blamed on not having a good read on the market of players, like what the price of these guys was going to be. He didn't develop or was unwilling to develop anyone on the team last year. So there's no returning players really, because he was just fighting with AJ Storms, Riley Griffin, and like went in on the wrong guys. And I agree that like nothing that happened last year should give anyone confidence. The last 2 years. So I do think you have a staff that's pretending that it's 2008 still. And like hopefully Jacque is a sign that it's not, but I actually do think that that's like a real concern. And I've heard that from outside sources. That's like, yeah, they may not be operating like in the reality of today. And then you've got 2 young coaches from NC State coming in, dropping dong on you. But hey, Kevin sold me on Jacque, so that's good.
I'm glad that worked.
Guys,
Maybe
just to
they'll get
leave
a
on
sick Euro.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
about to say. I was about to say, to leave on a positive note, get one mysterious European player that nobody's ever heard of, and that way we can convince ourselves like that was the missing piece all along. And boom, Final Four.
There's some good ones out there.
Is that it? That's the only option, is some multi-syllabic last name.
Bill's
Which is
pulled these
fine.
off before. Bill's had a few like rosters that's like, oh, I don't know, and then all of a sudden in like June, somehow it's like, oh, Kansas emerging, and like, but we're kind of at that time. Like Darrion probably would have been that guy. What else is out there? It's like Jameer Watkins maybe, or I don't know. Euros. There's some good Euros. Neo.
There we go.
Abdalis.
Positive. Remember, ending on positive. Ending on
Jacque.
positive.
Jacque is awesome.
Yes.
Jacque.
Jacque will fix it all, I guess. Is that how it works?
Jacque.
Okay.
Here's my millions, Kevin.
This was good, as it often does. I feel like we are once again in a state of paranoia and kind of feels apocalyptic, but you know what that means? Only one way to go. And that's up.
Is it?
Jayhawk Talk, Kevin Meckley, Euro Kev, Scoops Down. I'm Nick Schwert. Thank you. This is going to be long.
Grazie.